Through the Creativity in Older Age Scheme Fund, Creative Ireland have funded the Borris Lace Exchange project. With this project, we've really focused in on the pillars of Creative Ireland, which is enabling creativity for everybody in our community. And we saw an opportunity through the Borris lace makers who were developing the Borris lace craft and bringing it back to life in their own community. And through the Borris Lace Exchange project, we've had the opportunity to engage with the whole idea of working with the Borris lace makers and the men's shed and the nursing home, and focusing in on that and seeing how we could collaborate with other organisations in the Borris area. So it is a national heritage craft and we're really proud of that in Carlow.
My name is Jules Michael and I'm an artist living here locally to Borris. I have two aspects to my practice. One is I'm a painter and then I also work with community arts. For my aspect of the Borris Lace Exchange, I've teased out the different elements to Borris Lace and I'm using those as a means to connect with different groups in the surrounding community to Borris by the lace makers coming in as a group to meet the men's shed. To have a look at the original house samples seems to be a very natural foundation stone to the project. It's beautiful to be here with the old traditional patterns, and then behind the patterns again are some of the original designs. It's just interesting to see the progression of how you go from a design to lace. That was back then, and now you are all making your own designs and creating your own lace now. So it's by working together in this project, we'll just see what comes out, and it's another way of making Borris lace in different ways. It's a very natural opportunity for people to meet each other and the lace makers to share knowledge.
Bridget and myself were in the original group and just, I suppose, to hone the skills that we had learned. We've held exhibitions and I think we have lots of people in the group now able to teach the skills. It's just a very exciting group to belong to. As well as the stitching, there's a great social aspect to it.
Some of the men are so skilled and so interested in working with metal. So to take a Borris lace design and see what happens when they connect that with their metalworking skills.
If we're going to start on the bench, the starting point is the wood, so we can't do anything until we have that.
Okay, good, that's great.
We could start doing metal sculptures, whether it's a flat panel. We could reproduce that, the size of this end of the table, in metal, but not much smaller, because I can't bend it any time. No. And then send it off to be powder coated, so it will be a perfect reproduction, not as fine as that, but this line in white. The tape part would be in metal.
I was intrigued how some of the designs are quite symmetrical and then others are quite obviously drawn from nature. That appears in the lace. Like there's a beautiful pattern that's based on a fern, there's shamrock, there's flowers, leaves, oak leaves from Borris Woods. That's an oak leaf. So you can see that's crag again. We could, for example, choose a piece of this and redraw it and bigger and more spaced out, and that could become a motif to go along a bench. One of the things about Borris lace is that it can go in so many directions and it facilitates people to be creative in a way that they particularly feel is important to them. So it's teasing out all those different strands so it moves away from actually making lace, but Borris lace becomes this underpinning support for all these different creative actions.
We were able to link in with the Craft Hub project as well. And Craft Hub is a European project that's run through Carlow County Council Local Enterprise Office. And they've supported Borris Lace Exchange by enabling us to link in with other EU partners, in particular in Matera in Italy. Through the Borris Lace Exchange project, we've managed to explore ideas around expanding what Borris lace is, so looking at ways to make Borris lace making really accessible. in the community so that other organisations can learn about Borris lace making.
My name is Ali Nolan. I am an artist from Carlow. The Orchard Craft Studio is where I make my work and teach sewing and design classes. The Borris lace makers are the true authority on the craft, and it's really the lace makers who are keeping this tradition alive in our community. When we think of the history of Borris lace making and how it became a lifeline for women in the community to provide for their families suffering from the effects of famine, and we see with the lace makers that they've honoured this legacy by keeping the tradition going today.
Yeah. Would we be doing our lace stitching in it?
Oh, that was another thing that we suggested, that we might down maybe the centre piece that we put a row of traditional lace.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, we need to see when everyone has their designs done.
Which
what
one
works.
suits.
Like
Yeah.
it might be that like it's too fussy. That's what I'm saying, like it's a team effort. To create the lace could be a little bit intimidating for people. We wanted to open up this project that it's not just about the lace making techniques and more the process of lace making, and it became a little bit more accessible to people, that they could be involved in all the stages of the lace making, not just the techniques. We try to broaden the scope of the project and look more so around the inspiration for the designs of Borris lace and how that design is transferred onto fabric. And then really the last stage is actually the lace making or the stitching. And so you'd have your top layer, your contact sheet, and then your notebook, so you have it all together. Pop that one on. So you'd have to go very gently, and you're just using the edge of the stick, and then you can kind of see that they start to come up.
Yeah.
It was an opportunity to make something collaborative, and we wanted the project to reflect that in the end product, which will be the Borris lace by Post Quilt. We used the Borris lace as inspiration for the project, where all the participants' work will be linked together, just like a Borris lace design. It was also an opportunity to partner with Matera in Italy, who are, like Carlow, an EU Craft Hub member, and also have a strong tradition of lace in their town. So we saw the similarities between the two towns and a way to share knowledge and techniques relating to lace making through lace making exchange.
It's the feel of it. It's the quality of the cotton, which is beautiful. Yeah.
This is County Carlow. Borris is about here.
Borris si trova più o meno qui.
It's another thing that you need continuity in the design so that it all links up together. So these could definitely be applicable to Borris lace, and I'm sure the Borris lace makers would love to see this. So this project came out of the connection between Matera and Carlow, EU Craft Hubs. We started chatting about lace and how important lace is as part of Italian culture as well as Irish culture, and how both countries could collaborate on a technique exchange between the two craft hubs. And it's really the connection between Matera and Carlow that this is a shared interest. I was particularly inspired by Lena's workshop and her approach to her work. That's been very inspiring for all of us.
Here she feels okay, at ease.
Ti aiuta pure a creare.
The place you work in, it helps you with creativity also, so she likes this. It's not trafficked, it's calm, no noise.
Però vedi, questo dal tech si può passare alla lana. Questo è cashmere.
It's looking at it, it's got flowers. This is an original Borris lace design.
Sì, io
Yeah,
posso
and it's
farlo
kind of
quello
similar.
con la- sì, sì,
yeah.
sì.
What struck me about Lena's workshop is that she has literally carved out this space for herself. She's gone into this cave in the rock. Her whole life has been built around making and the creativity that comes from this. She's really interested in making connections in the community, so it's just not a sole person working away. It's the social aspect to it, which is so exciting because we're not alone all the time making. It's the connections we make.
Because the patterns are like our patterns, that there's a similarity in them.
She doesn't make first this, she makes everything together, this piece.
In the quilt we're going to make, all the patterns are going to join, so everyone's going to make a square and their patterns are on the diagonal, and we just thought that's perfect, that they would all join that type of pattern.
Ah, glielo poi diamo quando andiamo in Irlanda.
Oppure glielo spedisco.
Absolutely, it'd be beautiful. Put it in the quilt. Wow. Bellissimo. We speak through craft.
Matera Hub is a partner organization of Craft Hub, for which we carried out residencies and workshops, video tutorials, and exhibition. I feel like it's an amazing experience of starting up a collaboration with Borris Lace Exchange. It makes me realize that local artisans need a support. It makes me feel encouraged to continue with this job.
We're facilitating a craft workshop today in Matera Hub. It's based on Borris Lace as part of the Borris Lace Exchange. The objectives of the workshop today is to familiarise participants with the craft of Borris Lace, also to give them the opportunity to create their own designs using some of the drawing techniques that we're going to go through in the workshop today.
Ciao a tutti, mi chiamo Ali, sono un'artista di Cuntea di Carlo in Irlanda. Anche Jules è un'artista e Bridget è un merlataia.
The Borris Lace designs are based on nature, so the idea of the participants using their local plants and flowers found in their area. We thought it'd be a nice contrast to see the difference in the designs with flowers and plants found in Ireland and then flowers and plants found in Italy.
Another layer on top, like that, and then more flowers, and then a layer. You put this on top and then screw back in the bolt when you're finished. It's just to get it flat, then take it out and you can draw. It might be just a little bit more flat.
The lace. I have some original samples, and bringing it to Italy, it's a new audience in one sense, but it shows the universality, I think, of craft and of what it does for people who engage in all types of craft.
The shape with the tape, yeah. Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Poi si gira,
Yeah.
si gira di qua, poi si...
La devi impastire.
E poi da qui a qui gli angoli.
Just like that.
Ma
Yeah.
bisogna...
Even though there was a language barrier, that we were able to get our point across and be able to share techniques. That is the beauty of the project, that these techniques can be translated and be shared.
We're Borris Men's Shed, so we do a lot of work for local community groups. We make owl boxes, we make bird boxes, we make bat boxes, we make all those sort of simple carpentry things. We were working away on all these various projects, and Jules made contact about the lace makers. There's a lace garden here in Borris House, and she wanted a bench for that lace garden. So we've been cutting out pieces of oak. She specifically wanted oak that had grown in the grounds of Borris House. So Andrew, who's Morgan's father,
he has oak down below, and he said, help yourselves, whatever you need.
The whole thing was, when we started with this, is that it came from Borris House, and this comes from Borris House. So, do you know, it is...
Well, I think that's it. Everything kind of comes out of the lace and the wood and the oak woods and the house, and that just links it all in.
So we've cut the first couple of pieces of oak to go to Tony's to have the laser engraving done on for the back of the bench. And while he's doing that, we'll make up the rest of the bench.
So these are photoed from the stock samples down in the house, so they're original lace. So that's the shamrock there. It's a beautiful pattern, actually. It's endless what you could do.
This was the first ever attempt to try and see if we could just write Borris lace with the new machine.
And Tony's nice font, which is... Algerian. Algerian, yeah, no, it's beautiful.
We're reinterpreting what they're doing as best we can and combining what they do with what we do. So if we can combine their lace making with our benches, so you're effectively expanding what they do and expanding what we do. So everybody's gaining something out of it. That's what I was going to say. There's two choices. We can laminate it or we can revert to a different design.
And there's something beautifully simple about that I think is terrific.
Yes, well that's,
you know,
that's what
and
I'm saying.
It all just fits to me.
The whole point of the men's shed is it's for men's health. It gets you out of the house. And there's no end of the creativity that can be developed within the environment. The importance of older age and creativity, having the dialogue between the lace makers and the men's shed. We're all learning, we're all expanding on our abilities and still be able to do something practical with your hands that produces something at the end that you can be proud of and will make a contribution to your local community. You're winning every which way, aren't you? Hands down.
The idea was to bring in a bit of nature to the nursing home. Jules collected hedgerow materials, so nice ivy and leaves and different bits and bobs from the forest floor. All the residents to do what we call clay impressions. Simply a slab of soft clay, gently roll in the leaves, and they pick all the leaves out, and then we created a little clay wall around the slab and then poured in a plaster slab. So they end up with this lovely relief plaster slab. Thank you all for coming. Do a little bit of art with myself and Jules. I'm sure you've seen the bake-off. This is pretty much the same, but you can't eat it at the end. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our leaves and we're going to place them on our slab of clay.
Anything to do with making, they love it. They really enjoy it and benefit from it. And then they're talking about it afterwards. When is the next one? It keeps their mind going and everything, you know, keep them independent as well, like.
So Bree, did you want to put that down there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just press it on there. You just tap it down with your fingers. If you want to take another one, put it down wherever you like. You can see all the detail of the veins of the leaves and instant creative project to do.
They must be going good somewhere.
They're mixing something anyway. They're getting the gloves on.
And you're getting hungry thinking that this is your tea coming.
It's the social aspect is the big thing. Some of them are competitive, they all love talking to each other, but it's taking part and to remember things that they did themselves, even when they were younger and everything like that, you know.
Yeah. I'll tip this up so everybody can see it. I'll try not to slide it off. Do you see?
Oh, cool.
Now. And you can actually let that go dry as well and keep that if you want it. They created a pattern, we mixed some plaster, and at the end of the day they had their lovely plaster tile.
Today is kind of the first time when we're really getting to see the designs from Matera and the designs from the Borris lace makers come together. The concept is that everyone's drawing will link up together like a Borris lace design. Really, we're getting to see that today as people print their designs, and even on the table, kind of side by side, you're getting to kind of see the early stages of the quilt and how all the designs will begin to link up. So you can keep them as the squares, or if you want to put elements of your design together, maybe you want to take some of the flowers from one and on to the other and everything, that's okay.
I loved Ali because she had a lot of techniques in a short time, which I didn't know before, that you could do something with a button and that you could go with dipping a thread in ink and then pull them and get all kind of symmetrical designs. Wonderful.
So if you want to even do little, yeah, I've seen your free hands now. No, don't be pulling that on me, Bridget. You're well able.
I liked the experience of experimenting in different things. A loose connection to the lace, whether it's a pattern or it's a stitch. I think that makes it more interesting. It's great to have opportunities like this to do things that you wouldn't otherwise do. And we wouldn't have this opportunity except that it's part of the LACE project or our involvement with this particular project.
Yeah.
Oh,
that looks nice. That looks really nice.
I love it. Thank you.
You're very welcome. No worries at all. It's beautiful.
The traditional design, we have to make it interesting for the present day, and we have to bring it forward into modern times. And by using different techniques and different ideas that like Jules and Ali bring to projects such as this, it really kind of makes Borris Lace relevant in the present day, which is hugely important, because in the end of the day, that's what Borris Lace Makers is about. It's about bringing Borris Lace into the present day and into the future for the next generations.